Lagena and his team have found a new clue that may finally prove the existence of the Oak Island treasure. This discovery is not just another ancient artifact. Rather, it is an odd symbol connected to the history of ancient Europe. The team never anticipated discovering this because it serves a far more significant purpose than anyone could have imagined. In an old church wall, the crew discovered a cross with 4 dots, indicating the influence of the Templars. When looking more closely at the church's history, it became evident that this area had once been a sanctuary for the Knights Templar, the same group thought to have transported unfathomable wealth across the world. Their belongings had been hidden in symbols, waiting for the right eyes to uncover them. This exact design had previously been seen on the notorious H-stone found on Oak Island. It is likely that this was not just any old symbol, but a marker used by the Templars to highlight significant locations. Rick and his group are taking this action because they are focused on genuine, indisputable connections, rather than merely ancient folklore. If the host stone bears the same markings as this ancient Italian church, it indicates that the Templars not only made their way to Oak Island, but may have left something worth hiding. The more you learn about Oak Island's past, the more obvious it is that something significant is buried there. But history has a way of preserving its greatest treasures over time. The discovery of a Masonic compass etched into the stone also raises questions about the Freemasons, who have been involved in almost every significant excavation of the island since the money pit was first discovered in the late 1700s. Every attempt to discover the truth has been beset by innumerable traps, cave-ins, and odd incidents. It's likely that these setbacks weren't unintentional, but rather that some ancient or contemporary force was keeping the wealth secret. What does it imply in the legend surrounding Oak Island? But its meaning is still unknown. If the Templars left their mark here, they may have left a trail behind a well-maintained Templar hideout. Another noteworthy find is a painted representation of the Tree of Life, a sacred symbol frequently associated with divine knowledge. This is not just any religious artwork. It was also spotted in a 14th century Templar prison in Dom, France, where the knights were held captive before their order was dismantled. The significance of this symbol cannot be ignored, and further research shows that the Templars left behind cryptic symbols etched into the walls of their prison cells. The discovery date is important because it implies that the Templars were concealing something precious, maybe in anticipation of their own demise. Even more questions are raised by the discovery of a Templar-era cross on Oak Island. If the markings on the host stones correspond to symbols discovered in Morando Abe, it's possible that the Templars were aware of the New World long before Columbus did. If they did make it to North America, what specifically did they bring with them? Rick, finally, Lagina is poised to demonstrate whether the Oak Island riches is genuine or just another dead end. For many years, experts have been examining the enigmatic formation near Nolan's Cross on Oak Island, with some people thinking it represents the location of a hidden treasure. Strange carvings, ancient artifacts, and even signs of a lost treasure have been found there. In 1981, Fred Nolan, a land surveyor and treasure hunter, found 5 enormous cone-shaped boulders on his property. When these stones were mapped out, they formed a perfectly symmetrical cross that stretched over 700 feet in one direction and over 800 feet in another. Digging deeper, he discovered a 6th boulder that appeared uncannily different from the others, looking like a human head with indentations. Despite numerous scans and excavations, no conclusive treasure has been discovered, leading to theories that the cross was a purposeful marker, possibly a land-based version of the legendary Templar cross left behind by the Knights Templar centuries ago. Another theory proposed that the cross was an ancient symbol known as the Tree of Life, which appears in Hebrew traditions as a representation of spiritual knowledge in the 10 divine principles that govern the universe. For decades, the mysterious marks on the bottom boulder may be revealed by the next find. Physical proof of something buried deep in history has been left behind by the finding of a massive granite boulder on Oak Island, close to Nolan's Cross. The polished base of the boulder suggests deliberate wear and movement. The remaining stone surface was naturally rough. Researchers have long been interested in the discovery of an old dump site on Lot 12 on Oak Island, as Fred Nolan had mentioned years before excavations started, and treasure seekers found decorative hinges, iron nails, square heavy nails, and pottery. These hinges were made to last, and may have been pieces of storage chests or crates. The dump site seems to have been purposefully placed to give the impression that trash had been dumped in a certain spot. The finding of elaborate and ornamental box hinges is proof of hidden treasure. Antique chests that were used to keep valuables for ages frequently have these hinges. Questions concerning Oak Island's treasure hunting tradition and the possibility of hidden wealth are raised by the discovery of these hinges. On Oak Island, the team found an elaborate hinge that was intended to contain priceless items. The hinges were believed to be a component of a chest or a chest holding gold documents because they were discovered next to metal shards. Historical reports of missing chests associated with Oak Island, especially pirate-owned ones, according to Captain James Anderson, these hinges may have been a component of his misplaced loot. Near Nolan's Cross, an old stone structure known as a ringbolt rock was discovered. This rock was altered to hold an iron ring that was used to secure ropes or pulleys. Another possibility was the Knights Temple, a group frequently associated with Oak Island's mysteries concealing something of great value. The ringbolt rock, which was discovered close to an old apple tree, was thought to be a component of a covert transportation system that carried heavy items up the hill toward the interior of the island. Its presence indicates a significant amount of human effort, indicating that someone had been moving something big and heavy for a specific purpose. The clue implies that the operation that led to the discovery was covert, and the team is investigating the possibility of something buried beneath the... The crew is thrilled about discovering this wood, which may indicate a previously undiscovered tunnel that might be crucially essential. Scott and Gary discover a spike that looks to be from the 1600s or even earlier. It is free of fasteners, which suggests it might have originated from somewhere else, perhaps the side or lid of a chest. Gary Drayton speculates that this spike may be from the 17th century or earlier and may be connected to a potential container. If this is the case, what else might the team discover at the bottom of Aladdin's cave during the excavation of the AC-1 shaft? The spike's wood-like grain structure and striking array of angles suggest that it is a rose head, and its square cross-section suggests that it was hand-forged rather than machine-cut. Its composition is minimal, with a high content of phosphorus and sulfur, suggesting an English origin, while the potassium content throughout suggests a furnace that burned charcoal rather than coal. There are a number of theories that explain the period between the 1600s and 1750. One theory is that Sir William Phipps, who was present in the round feature on Lot 5, may have been a resident of the island since the money pit was first constructed in 1687. Captain William Phipps found the wreck of the Conchian, a Spanish treasure galleon that sank off the coast of the present-day Dominican Republic in 1641. After recovering 34 tons of silver, Phipps was told to return for the remaining valuables. However, when he and his assistant, a high-ranking Freemason named Andrew Belcher, finished the second salvage operation, they reported that locals had looted the wreck and recovered only 5 more tons of treasure. According to 32 Nderi Freemason, a 1688 letter reveals that Captain Andrew Belcher was apprehended in the Mahon Bay region with one of Phipps' ships just as Phipps was returning from the second effort, in which he formally did not locate as much silver. The research of Scott Clark. The team is on the verge of opening the door of Aladdin's cave, and everyone seated around the table is filled with high hopes about what might be inside the brothers. Sir William Phipps and Captain Andrew Belcher buried the missing Spanish treasure on Oak Island based on their knowledge of an existing vault that had been deposited in the money pit centuries earlier by members of the Knights Templar. The spike recovered in AC-1 along with the tools and bricks unearthed on Lot 5 could help explain why multiple treasures could be buried in the money pit area and suggest what might await them there. Rick and Marty Lena are conducting a massive excavation in the fabled money pit area of Oak Island, hoping to uncover answers to the 230-year-old treasure mystery. The team is working on a 7-foot diameter steel shaft called True Believer 1, which has reached a depth of nearly 100 feet. This shaft is believed to be located within the original money pit due to recent groundwater tests revealing high traces of precious metals below the 100-foot level. The team has also retrieved remnants of a mysterious wooden tunnel, which resembles the vault. A previous core drilling operation this year recovered possible evidence of the fabled Chappelle Vault, a 7-foot-high container first reported by treasure hunters Frederick Blair and William Chappelle back in 1897, as the TB1 shaft advances deeper towards the possible tunnel. An 18.5-ton tool known as a hammer grab is being used to bring the spoils and possibly man-made workings to the surface. The team is approaching the depth of the tunnel, and they are bringing out a lot of wood that looks like a tunnel. An interesting piece of wood has been found with grooves and a dowel, suggesting the same construction methodology as the U-shaped structure. The team is hopeful that the next scoop will be something hugely meaningful. The team is committed to finding the treasure in the TB1 area, which is thought to be the location of the original money pit. They are currently at 117 with their dig and are pursuing the treasure vault below at 150 feet. An intense situation is developing in the money pit area, with steel caissons hitting a mysterious obstruction. The team is eager to learn the truth, but it might take some time for the caissons to break through the obstruction and bring more spoils and potentially valuables to the surface. As they continue digging, they are getting close to the vault and are thinking about a few doubloons or something. But the ground beneath TB1 suddenly begins to collapse, indicating that something is consuming the material. The team is worried that the ground may cave away because it is a 30-foot drop all the way down. Marty and Vanessa agree to backfill the area and check it every few feet to make sure there is no caving. But the team is losing material and cannot guarantee their progress. Rick asks if the area is getting unsafe enough to remove the oscillator and move off, which is their top priority. The team's most ambitious plan to uncover answers and a legendary treasure vault is currently in danger. Will Oak Island succeed and maintain its priceless secrets? Or can Rick Marty Craig and his group solve a riddle that has persisted for more than 2 centuries, please? Of effort and the ideal location for it. Dr. Spooner argues that the path's orientation is currently pointing up in this direction, toward the money pin. The team must concentrate their efforts in a certain location in order to find more proof. There are sufficient hints to suggest that this area merits further research. It would appear to be a clear sign of significant human labor on the island prior to the money pit, if someone sought to install a road that could be readily concealed. They need to continue working in order to be assured. For Rick and Marty, the only thing that seemed certain at this time, Craig and his group believe that the more they investigate the Oak Island mystery, the more proof they will discover that a significant event occurred there in the distant past. If it truly centers around a huge wealth, then the efforts to conceal it, the potential deadly force protecting it, and the fabled curse that has claimed 6 lives would have all been justified. Maybe the solutions will be found by carefully excavating one cobblestone at a time, or by drilling and digging in the money hole. At a mysterious triangle-shaped wetlands southern boundary, Gary Drayton, an expert in Lagena metal detectors, and Billy Gart are searching for hints. In 2020, they discovered an 8th century ship's railing on the southern edge, along with ship timbers and artifacts from the 15th and 18th centuries. The team is looking for more proof, especially in light of Dr. Doug Simmons' theory that Oak Island may be connected to the Viking civilization in the Middle Ages. They discovered lumber that might have been boat ribs. The crew is looking into whether or not a sailboat was abandoned in the marsh and who left it there. Early activity was indicated by the Oak Island team's discovery of 1200 AD marsh dates and 700 AD ship railing dates. It's unclear exactly how the mystery will be resolved. Billy excavates the marsh and discovers vertical and horizontal boards as well as a retaining wall or shaft. Fred may have examined this wall after striking it. The group is eager to solve additional swamp secrets. Fred Nolan, the owner of Oak Island and a treasure hunter, discovered a wooden wall or dam in the marsh more than 30 years ago. He believed it to be a man-made barrier built long ago to hide something important. The group is investigating whether they discovered a piece of that construction and whether it is connected to the railing of a 1250-year-old ship discovered nearby in 2020. Dr. Ian Spooner, a geoscientist, will analyze the sediment deep structure. The red material beneath the stone road, which might have existed at the same time as the wooden tunnel beneath the garden shaft, piques their curiosity. It can be older if they see red elements inside and outside the wood construction. The team also needs to locate a loading and unloading facility to connect the stone road. They believe that this site has been active for decades, possibly even millennia. The flat top and circular margins of the swamp woods are fascinating. The objective is to excavate and reveal the structure in order to comprehend its purpose and possibly find artifacts. Marty Lagena and geoscientist Dr. Ian Spooner are looking into a possibly significant discovery in the northern marsh. They discovered a disturbance at the base of a boulder that might have been the marsh where John Edwards formerly lived. Edwards believed that the mechanism that unlocked Nolan's cross was constructed in Billy Gart, who discovered a big boulder on what may have been a man-made rock structure. The team is examining the area to determine if it is man-made or natural. A stick between the silt and the rock indicates that people moved stones to shift water. If they are accurate, this could support Edwards' claim that the marsh was intentionally drained. It appears that the marsh was intentionally altered hundreds of years ago, as evidenced by the cut timber from a massive tree and other tree stumps found close to its base. The team is also examining a large piece of rock-lined wood that was transported here for any purpose. At last, the crew is looking at the prospects for humans in the marsh. They are also taking into account other anomalies, such as artificially reduced water levels. As suggested by John Edward, Billy and Rick are investigating Oak Island's rock-lined depression. A hidden stone feature could be unique. Although the stone circle is thought to be intentional, no metals were found on the stone highway or paved area. It's possible that people visited Oak Island earlier than previously thought. In the triangle-shaped swamp, Fred Nolan found a board with wood running down its length. The crew also finds one. The wood-filled board might have been used to create the brackish bog. A similar stake at a treasure burial site might be inspected by the Oak Island team. Leorard and Craig find it intriguing, but they don't think it's natural. They advise Dr. Spooner to explore the location and see what he discovers. They won't take any physical action until Dr. Spooner shows up because it could change the rules and indicate who was present.